All right, fellas, thought I'd do my first barefoot run progress report. I'm out here at one of the nature preserves in Charlotte, as you can see behind me, and I just put in about 2 miles of foot movement, totally barefoot. So as you can see, hopefully I got a shot of my feet and not my crotch. But either way, I'm feeling really good. I'm a little bit winded right now because I literally just finished up. But I want to tell you guys about just what this experience was like for anybody who's thinking about taking this up. And hopefully this video will hit at about the same time. Well, it will probably come out a little bit earlier than a podcast interview I've recorded already with a guy from the UK, Tom Hughes, I believe his name is. And he's all about barefoot running and stuff. Great interview, real good chap, as they say. And really got me pumped up for just giving this a shot. I heard his story and you guys are going to really enjoy this. But I thought I'd give you guys a first-hand experience here, first-hand account rather. So, a couple of things. I've been going barefoot pretty solidly since about June. Yes, I'm aimlessly walking around right now because I just finished up and trying to not run out of breath. I've been going barefoot, just shoeless basically, no running or anything like that since about June. I did try, it's now October, end of October just about, so if you guys are watching this at some time down the road. And I did try just a couple of small runs in some tall grass actually, and I found that this sort of cropped turf out here is just basically just natural area, but it's cut real low. Is actually a lot easier to run in than any kind of tall fescue, even though the fescue certainly pads a good bit better. You can see where you're going with this stuff and just more confident. Plus you don't have to pick your feet up as high, so that was nice. But one of the things that I found that was really interesting with this experience was that when I first started running, as you guys can see I got headphones in, I could noticeably hear and feel a big thump, 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 thump. It wasn't my heart beating, it was my feet hitting the ground, not really knowing how to navigate the terrain without shoes on at that kind of pace. And by the time I got to my first half mile, I finished, I actually ended up at a creek, and I'll tell you, I stepped in the creek and it was awesome, just dipping my feet in there. And the water was so cold it sort of numbed my feet, and I think it made me forget a little bit about worrying about the pain, even if it was just for 30 seconds or so. And I got back to running, and when I started getting on my second mile, I noticed that my gait was a lot more smooth. So the thump, thump, thump was a lot less noticeable. Still something I need to work on, just that flexibility, cushioning. Obviously it's going to take some time, but that was just really interesting for me to observe that. As far as going the distance that I did stop a few times, once in that creek like I said, and then once also to navigate some minefields of acorns and hickory nuts, which, by the way, acorns you might be able to get by on. Hickory nuts, it's like having one of those Swedish massages, but instead of the Swedish lady they bring in the Russian woman and she just goes to town on you. And so the bottom of my feet are pretty torn up, or they feel kind of bruised up just from hitting a couple of those big hickory nuts. But other than that, it's all there to toughen my feet up. The reason that I'm doing this, just so you guys know, is that I've rolled my left foot a number of times. I have what they call floppy feet, that's what the doctors call it. And it's essentially when you roll your feet, your tendons kind of stretch out and they grow back where the heel's stretched. And so your feet never really have that strength that they had. Really, that was your tendons holding them together. And so it's easier to roll it again and again and again. That's why people have repeated injuries. And this is just what I've heard from a couple of podiatrists I've been to, sports doctors and things of that nature, and kind of giving me this thing. They said you shouldn't run. They said that basically your feet are terrible. They're narrow, they're ugly, which, you know, is probably true. But they said you shouldn't run. And so when I heard this, I thought, well, my feet just need to be stronger then. And I'd been listening to other podcasts and people talk about barefoot running, and that's why I decided to go barefoot. And I wanted to go barefoot for a while before I started doing any kind of running, because I didn't want to injure my feet and end up in a worse place than I was. But this is all a goal of basically just getting my feet strong again, staying away from shoes as much as I can. Now this is fall, the winter's coming up. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll figure it out when I get there. Plus it's North Carolina, in Charlotte, so it's not going to get that cold anyhow. But good day, good report from my first run. A solid 2 miles of exercise, and I'll tell you what, guys, this is the farthest that I've ran in months, and I feel really good. Usually, I'll tell you, usually after running in shoes, and I've tried all kinds of different shoes, stuff that helps you, that's super mobility control, stabilizations, stuff for overpronators, stuff for people with flat feet. I've had the orthotics, I've had all that stuff. And I'll tell you that every time I run, I always have ankle soreness, a little bit of knee soreness, but I don't have anything right now. We'll see what ends up in the morning. I got a feeling that the bottom of my feet are actually going to be tender, just from those acorns and things, but other than that, I feel really good. So that's my first progress report. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll try to do a few of these and encourage you guys to get out there and get after it. Talk to you later.